So basically the comparable is used for natural sorting. I mean, if you want to sort something in ascending order, the comparable is heavily used for that particular thing. So this particular thing says that, okay, this song class is right now ready to compare two different song objects, okay, and can sort them in a natural sorting order. And that's why we have to write our own logic right here. So let me write my own logic right here. So as I said, the compareTo method returns an int, okay. So there is a fundamental with this particular thing. It's not that difficult. It's pretty simple. So let me give you a walkthrough about the fundamentals, right? I'm not going to tell it verbally. I'm going to do it practically so that you guys can understand. So guys, if you talk about string, right? So here we have sorted string, right? String sorting demo. Here we have added few strings and we did sort and magically it sorted everything. Because as I said, string class implements the comparable interface. If string class has implemented the comparable interface, then it also has the compareTo method, because there's this abstract method inside the comparable interface. So string class, if it is implementing the comparable interface, then it would have a method here also called compareTo. So let me do command O and let me search for the compareTo method, and you can see the string class already has given a implementation. It has already written a logic on the compareTo method, right? So basically, let's use this particular logic and let's see what is basically going to happen, how the logic is basically working here. And so basically what I can do here, I can go to the test class that I have created, because I want to do some experiment right now and I want to close all this unnecessary class, comparable class, integer class. Okay, now I need my testers Java. Yep, in the testers Java, I don't need all these things right now. Let me remove it. And here also I don't need all these generic methods. This is just to show you. And let me remove all these codes right here as well. So let me minimize this thing. Okay, so now let's do a little bit of hands-on with the compareTo method in Java and what it returns. And let's be familiar with the compareTo method. So let's say I'll just give you a very simple puzzle here. Let's say I have a simple sysout here, okay, and I have two strings. One is A. Let's say another string is X or something, right? Let's say I want to compare A with compareTo. This compareTo method is already there inside the string class. So actually I can use this compareTo method over a string object. And in another string, I'll say I want to compare A with X, right? So what is going to be the result? Now, as you know, the compareTo is going to return you a int, right? So what is the integer it is going to return? Basically, what is the integer it is basically going to return? We doesn't care about it. What we care is basically it is returning a positive integer or a negative integer or a 0, right? So basically, whenever you can see this kind of scenario, so you ask yourself, this A is coming before X or after X? Before X, right? So A is smaller than X, right? So A is coming before X. If before, then be 100% sure it is going to give you a negative integer, right? So even if I do save it, and if I run this particular program, you can see we're getting a negative integer here called -23, right? As I said, I don't care about this 23. I care about the sign here, plus or minus or 0, right? Okay, so the conclusion I can give, negative integer if the current object is lesser than the specified object, right? So the current object means this object. This object is lesser than X, so we're getting a negative integer. Okay, now let me give you another puzzle. Let me Control C, right? And let me paste it again. And let's say I want to compare B with D, right? Tell me which kind of integer you are expecting right over here. So again, ask yourself, B is coming before D or after D? Obviously, B becomes before D in the English alphabet. So we will be obviously getting a negative because B is before D, right? Simple trick. negative integer here because the current object is lesser than the object we are comparing with. So if I'm going to save this particular program and if I'm going to run this, obviously we're going to get a negative integer, and there you can see -2. Okay, so that's it. Now let's talk about the reverse scenario. Right here, let me paste the same thing, Command V, and let me say D here and A here. Right now, which is the current object? This is the current object. So D is coming before A or after A? Obviously D is coming after A, right? If it is coming after A, obviously it will be a positive integer, right? So if I do command save it, and if I'm going to run this, obviously okay, it's a positive integer, right? 3. It doesn't have any minus symbol, so I can say positive integer if the current object is greater than the specified object, right? Simple. Okay, so another question for you, command C, command V here, G and C, right? Obviously G comes after C in the English alphabet, so I'll be getting a positive number. So if I am going to run this particular program, and I should expect a positive integer here, which is 4, right? Simple. Okay, so now the final scenario. So I'll do Control V again, and I'll say D compared to D. Now both are a similar character, right? D and D is pretty similar. So I'm going to get 0 as a output, right? If I'm going to run this, I'll be getting a 0 as the output. So I can give a conclusion here, 0 if the current object is equal to the specified object, right? Okay, so this is pretty simple, right? Our compareTo method is returning 3 kinds of number. Might be a positive number, might be a negative number, and might be 0. Okay, it is returning positive if the current object is greater than the object that we are comparing to, just like this particular scenario. It is returning negative. It is returning negative if the current object is lesser than the object that we are comparing to. And if both the objects are same, the current object and the object we are comparing to, then we are getting 0 as output. And this compareTo logic who is written, this compareTo method is present in which class? We're using this compareTo over a string object. So this compareTo method is inside the string class, right? So in the string class, they have already written the logic for all these things, and I don't need to care about it. So just like that, integer class is also implements the comparable interface, as I said. So if I'll go to integer class also, there is a compareTo method, and the fundamental is exactly same, right? So string class has a compareTo method, integer class has a compareTo method. If I want my song class to be comparable, if I want my song objects to compare, then my class also need to implement the comparable interface, and I also need to give a valid logic to my compareTo method, right? Like here we are talking about a string class compareTo method. Okay, same thing is with the integer class compareTo method also. So for an example, if I'll do sysout here, and if I'll say 10 dot compareTo, okay, 10 is not an integer, right? It's a int. So I'll say new integer, and I'll pass in 10. Okay, I want to compare 10 with compareTo. You can see the integer class has a compareTo method. That's why I'm getting it. And I want to pass it, I want to compare it with a different integer, let's say 10 and 100. Tell me, now 10 comes before 100 or after 100? Now 10 comes obviously before 100, so I'll be getting a negative value for this sysout, right? So if I'll be saving this, and if I'll be running this, obviously I'll be getting a negative value for sure. Okay, so where is the console? Okay, you can see -1, right? Similarly, in another scenario, command C and command V here, and if I'll say 100 compared to 10, now you answer me what is going to be the result of it. 100 is greater or 10 is greater, right? 100 comes after 10 or before 10? 100 comes obviously after 10. If the current object is greater than the object that we are compared to, then obviously it is going to return me a positive integer, right? Positive integer. So if I'm going to save it, if I'm going to run it again, you can see I'm going to get a positive integer right here. Simple, right? And similarly, if it is 100 and 100, I'll be getting 0 as a 0 in return, right? You can see 0. So like the string class compared to method that we have seen here, like the integer class compared to method that we have seen here, we also have a compared to method in our song.java class. And here we need to return something, a negative value, a positive value, or a 0 based on the condition. Okay. So let's say how to do that. Okay. So for an example, let's say I want to sort all my song objects based on the release year, okay, in ascending order. Let's say if where I am putting all my songs, let's go to mp4.java. Let's say 2013 is the list value. Okay, 2008 is the list value. So I want to sort like this: 2008, then 2010, then 2013, then 2014, then 2015. Okay, like this order, my song should be sorted, right? So the first value should be as long as you love me. The next value should be okay, just a dream, because this is 2010. And then I should get the value for this, love me like you do. Now I want to sort everything based on the year of release. So how can I do that? Okay, so I'll go to my song.java class, and here I'll write my own logic. Okay, so first of all, which is my current object? My current object will be always this, right? This means current object. Now my current object get year. Okay, if dot compare to, I'll do control space and compare to. So see, this this dot get year is going to give me an integer, right? So in the integer class, there is already a compare to method. They have their own logic. So let me just reuse their logic. Okay, I should not, I should not think much right here. So I can use their compare to method, the integer class compare to method, and here I can pass another integer. So this, another integer means this is one object, and one object I'll be getting through the compare to parenthesis, right? In the compare to arguments. So I can say song, another song. Okay. So I'll say another song dot get year. That's it, right? So based on this compare to method is going to return a positive number or negative number or a 0, because this compare to method is already there inside the integer class, and the integer class already provide a valid implementation for the compare to method, as we have tried here inside the test.java. Okay, here we're just using the integer class compare to method, right? And it is providing us a positive, negative, or a 0 value, based on the condition that we are passing right here. So I'm just going to reuse it right over here, and let's see whether our things is working here or not. So I'm going to save everything. Now I'm going to go to mp4.java. Now I have sorted everything right over here, and this is before sorted and this is after sorted, right? So now let me see the value, and let me check whether I am going to get all the value of my song object sorted with the based on the release year. So you can see right now this is before sorting. Take Me to Your Heart is in the first place, but here As Long As You Love Me is in the first place, this music, because this came in 2008, then 2010, Just a Dream, 2013, Love Me Like You Do, 2014, Take Me to Your Heart, then 2015, See You Again. Okay, good going. Okay, so I'll just tell you one more thing here. Okay, what if you don't want to do like this? You want to give your own implementation. Okay, so how can I actually implement that particular thing right here? So pretty simple. So the current object is this. Another object that I'm getting here with the parenthesis, another song. So what I can do, if I'm writing my own logic instead of depending on the integer class compared to method. What I can say here, let's say this dot get year. Okay, if it is greater than another song dot get year. If the current object is greater than the object we are comparing to, obviously we need to return positive value, right? Positive, I can say positive 100, 199, whatever. A value should be positive. So let me say plus 1 itself, okay? You can give any number right here. Number doesn't matter, the sign matter, right? And same thing, I'll do Control C. I'll write another if clause right here, and I'll say if the get year is less than another song that get here, then return a negative value, okay? Return a -1, okay? Again, you can return any number here. I'm writing 1 because, as I said, the sign matters, the value doesn't matter. And otherwise, if both these conditions doesn't satisfy, obviously both the objects are equal, so let me return 0, right? Cool. So let me do Control S and let me go to mp4.java class, and right now let me run this particular method. Finger crossed, hopefully my logic works. Yeah, there you go. As long as you love me is there in the list, it's top the list, and you see your 2008, 2010, 2013, 14 and 15. Simple logic. Okay, so what if now you are going to tell me, hey Abhilash, I don't want to sort it based on the year. Right now we are sorting everything based on the year. Now I want to sort it like this. I want to sort it based on the title track. For an example, if I see the console here, so basically if you'll see the console here, you can see is sorted by the year. Now I want to sort by the title. Looks pretty good here, but see here, T coming before S, right? So if I'll sort it by title, obviously S will go before T, right? So because I'm going to sort it by the name. Cool. So let me do it. So now what I can do here, I can remove all the things and I can say return, and here I want to sort things based on the title. So I'll say current object is this. Now current object title, get title. Okay, I want to compare this compared to, because this get title is what? This get title, if I'll do command click, this is my getter method, and this getter method is returning what? String. This title, if I go here, it is a string type, right? In the string class, obviously we have a compareTo method. We have already seen it, right? So what I can do here, compareTo, now I'll say another song dot get title. That's it, right? Now is the string class compareTo method will return a positive number, negative number, or 0 based on the whatever the things that we are passing right here. It will compare, it will do the things, it will return it to the sort method. Now sort method job is to sort everything, in a precise way, in ascending way. So let's go over here and let me do command S. Something is wrong here. I have missed the semicolon. So I will go to the mp4.java right now. If I will run this program, then you can see S is here, and after S, T is come, right? So things are pretty sorted based on what? Based on the title, right? Not based on the year, right? Because you can see 2015 is coming before 2014. Basically, it would have sorted by year. 2014 would have come right here in this particular place, correct? That's pretty good. I think you are going pretty good right now. Okay, so what about if I want to, sort everything in a descending way? If I want to sort everything in a descending way, you can see this is my list before sorting, and this one I'm sorting it in a ascending order. So if I want to sort it in a descending order, so what I can do here, I can go to my song.java and I can just give a minus symbol right here, and that's it. Minus, okay, whatever I get, just do the reverse, right? If I'm going to run this application, if I'll do OK here, and things should be in a descending way. See T, S, then L, then J, then A in the last. Cool. So this is all about the comparable interface. Comparable interface is used for natural sorting order, and the comparable interface is there inside the java.lang package. You need to understand this one, the comparable interface. If you do command shift T and if you do comparable, Okay, remember that these two things, it is there inside the java.lang package, right? It's inside the java.lang. Okay, so this is one of the pretty much important thing to understand. Okay, cool. Okay, so I think that's pretty much about the comparable interface. Actually, I have taken a break. I slept overnight and I woke up again and I'm shooting again. So, okay, so I think whatever I discussed about the comparable interface is pretty much enough right now. And we can jump into the comparator interface. So right now you can actually question yourself that, okay, we already have a comparable interface, which is helping us to sort everything in a natural order. Then why we need a comparator interface? What is actually the comparator interface doing? So there are two kind of interface I told you. One is comparable, one is comparator. Now we are learning comparable, and comparable is inside java.lang package, as you can see over here. And the comparable interface has only one method called compareTo, and this compareTo method is actually returning an integer, and that integer is basically -1, 1 or 0, which is basically help us to sort the things using the sort method, right? Because if you see the collection class sort method is basically take object which is comparable.